I want to embarrass them. That's part of what Kyle Larson said when it came to why he likes to compete in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and in lower series in general in NASCAR, which, to be honest, I found pretty funny. I know a lot of people found him arrogant or they found him confident or whatever. I just think Blunt Larson is funny as hell. But I think what it's also doing is raising up what I've noticed to be another kind of debate in the NASCAR fandom and community about whether or not we need to have more bushwhackers. If you don't know what a bushwhacker is, it was an old term for a cup guy going down to lower series and stinking it up. And I've seen more and more people, especially when there aren't good Xfinity races, really saying we need cup guys in there. We need more of them in there for one reason or another. And I think there's actually good arguments for both sides of this, both for bringing the cup guys down there for more races, but also for keeping things as is or even banning them completely. And I wanted to look at each of them because I think that there's different merits to both. Now, for the bringing back bushwhackers side of it, I think one of the biggest arguments that people have is that cup guys in the lower series tend to push younger drivers, whether Xfinity or trucks, to do better, to elevate their game, to learn from them and what they do on the track and emulate it and get better as a driver. And I get that argument. If you want to be the best of the best, iron sharpens iron. It's not like you're just going to go out there and learn a bunch of things you never learned before from people who have been stuck in the Xfinity Series for years or guys that have your level or lower of experience. Numbers actually do show, at least in the short term before and after, that guys who competed more against cup drivers did end up firing off faster in their cup careers. I have a note here of Logano, Stenhouse, Larson, and Elliott. Those four drivers, granted one of them a bit of an outlier, all ran top 20 in the points in their first season in the NASCAR Cup Series. Three of them are champions now, and you also have two Daytona 500 champions and guys that have made the playoffs before and raced at a high level before. And you even look after the line of 2017 when they cut off cup guys from being in the lower series as much. Jones, Byron, those two are pretty damn good. Eric Jones, I get, might not have had the greatest career, but he has shown that he can win. He's a Southern 500 champion, for Christ's sake. William Byron, somebody who probably should be a Cup Series champion at this point, and one of the winningest drivers of the last 5 or so years. So there is an argument there. And when you look at those afterwards, Hemrick, Custer, Briscoe, Cindric, Ty Gibbs, and Carson Hocevar. Now, I'm not going to get too harsh on Gibbs or Hocevar, still very early in their careers, but Hemrick couldn't cut it in Cup, had to go back to Xfinity, and then also go back now to the Truck Series. You look at Custer. Yeah, he got a win in his rookie year, but it was a 550 win. Let's be honest, a 550 win at Kentucky of all places, not very memorable, not something that's going to keep you around a while. While he's back in the Cup Series, he is not performing at all. Then you look at Chase Briscoe. Yeah, he had a kind of breakout year at one point, nearly made the Final Four, but outside of that, he has been largely irrelevant for the early part of his career. Now he's with Gibbs and maybe things will turn around, but there definitely was a longer period of time, if things do turn around, of him not performing well. Look at Cindric. Not really been all that great. One win he had was the Daytona 500 Super Speedway. I get it. The other one, Gateway, when his teammate and others ran out of fuel or were going slower than him and had problems. He has not necessarily earned any win so far, if you look in the eyes of the fans, and he's definitely been a disappointment. Ty Gibbs shows promise, but at the same time, he's struggled mightily for the last, I'd say, half year. And Carson Hocevar will give him time. He's shown flashes, but no wins. There's been 3 wins between all of those drivers from 2019 on that won Rookie of the Year. One of them was Super Speedway. One of them was 550. One of them was because everyone in front of him had issues. So you really can't say it's all that impressive when you compare it to guys like Byron, Jones, Elliott, Larson, even Stenhouse, and of course, Joey Logano. I took out Brett Moffitt, Stephen Light, Andy Lally, and Kevin Conway, as let's be honest, they were not even going to be on the same level in any way as any of these other drivers. Speaking of numbers, Cup guys bring them in when it comes to eyeballs. Viewership is generally going to be up when somebody knows that their favorite Cup driver is racing Xfinity. They're going to make the time to watch it. I know for me, I have a Dale Jr. shirt on. I make sure every year that I have Dale Jr.'s race or 2 races he runs marked off on my schedule. Nothing else going on that night. There needs to be some kind of family emergency or an act of God to make me not want to watch that race. And while it's not the same way for like Kyle Busch or Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, those guys are marketable and they're going to have plenty of fans watching Xfinity that normally wouldn't because their favorite guy is in there. Tell me this, who's easier to market? Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, you name the rest, bunch of Cup guys, or Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, Connor Zilisch, Jesse Love, Sam Mayer? It's not a trick question. The Cup guys, because they're a bigger name and stage and everything like that, are going to be the ones that are going to be easier to market. So there is that too. And there would also be that older force that would maybe be able to keep the young guys in check. We might not have as many of those Martinsville incidents or as many Truck Series incidents as we always have. That's another one that people bring in. You need to have that mentorship mentality or leader in the garage. And part of that too would mean that if you had more Cup guys in, especially throughout the entirety of the field, they'd probably take rides away from pay drivers because sponsors will line up more for a Cup guy racing Xfinity than they will just a normal Xfinity guy racing Xfinity. Now, of course, there are plenty on the side of letting the bushwhackers in. But what about the ones that are like, hey, we need to keep them out. And we did this and NASCAR did this for a reason. Well, I think they have some good points too. The first one is they dominate the series and just make it Cup light. Listen, we've seen this happen before. We saw it happen in the 2000s and 2010s. And there were times that sometimes the field would say be 25 to 30 guys out of a 43 car field that would be racing Cup the next day. And none of them were Xfinity lifers or regulars that were racing Cup the next day. You had the mid to low level Cup guys taking everyone's rides away. And because of that, when you only have 13 or so actual guys out there that run it every week and only maybe 2 are competitive, you're not going to have many of them win. I remember Brad Keselowski's first win in the Xfinity Series. I celebrated. 1, because it was Junior's guy and I was happy. But 2, we finally had a guy that went out there and beat all of them, that beat the Cup guys he was racing against. It was a big deal, but at the same time, there were really no names being made. And that's another point too. You do need the Xfinity Series to make names. Names are made here is not just a slogan, it's a way of life down there. Because you have so many of them that are going in and out every 2 to 3 years, you need to hype up the Sam Mayers. You need to hype up the Austin Hills, the Jesse Loves, the Connor Ziliches, all of them. They need that chance to get their name out there in the fan base. And if they're cutting it up and doing well in the Xfinity Series and actually racing for wins, they're going to learn to do that, and fans are going to learn who they are. You're not going to get that if a bunch of Cup guys are there. You might get one every year or two, and that's great. But then when a lot of other guys come up, most people are going to look at them and say, why? They didn't do anything. And I get it. It's not as good a competition, but the series in and of itself is actually one of the most popular in America. When you look at the ratings each week, Xfinity is usually second or third, only behind Cup and sometimes behind Formula One. There's really no other series outside of the Cup Series, viewership-wise, that beats the Xfinity Series in America. So you need your own cast of characters, cast a wider net with drivers, all of that. 1 million or more people watch it every week. And part of it too is that if a Cup guy is going to be winning all the time, there's going to be a boring result. Everyone's going to look and say, yeah, I get it. They're racing at Bristol or Daytona or Pocono or you name it, any myriad of tracks. But Kyle Busch is racing. Like, we all know he's probably going to win. Why should I watch? any of those returns you could have got from your Cup guys coming down there and racing against the Xfinity guys could be wiped out simply from apathy of just seeing the same guys win on Saturday that are going to win on Sunday. And there is that logical argument to it as well. Well, maybe not as many points. I do think that these points for against bushwhacking do hold stronger. It's why I am all for what NASCAR has now. I think 5 races isn't enough, unless maybe one exception. One exception I have is that if you're going to race a full-time car for more than the 5 allotted races, race one outside of the top 20 in owners' points. Not a part-timer, only the full-time ones. That way you might be able to even out the playing field a bit. Yeah, the better driver is out there, but that better driver has lesser equipment, which means that they're going to have to fight back even harder, and it's going to be difficult on them. Maybe that's a nice medium of all of this. But I want to know what you think. Do you think bushwhacking should come back in a greater force, or do you like where it's at now and want less of it? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.